Hi, I'm Mel, and I am choosy. My ultimate skin goal is gusto kong mag-even out ang skin tone ko.
Hi, my name is Gian Anwada. My skin goals are to become whiter, fairer, healthier, and younger.
It really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasy, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasy.
Every coffee needs a lotus. What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair young and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
Give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential for successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
Hi, I'm Mel, and I am choosy. My ultimate skin goal is gusto kong mag-even out ang skin tone ko.
Hi, my name is Gian. My skin goals are to become whiter, fairer, healthier, and younger.
It really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasy, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasy.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair young and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
there's more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
Hi, I'm Mel, and I am choosy. My ultimate skin goal is gusto kong mag-even out ang skin tone ko.
Hi, my name is Gian. My skin goals are to become whiter, fairer, healthier, and younger.
It really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasine, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasine.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi, isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair strong and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
Give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
Okay, and we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. So, good afternoon to our Zoom participants and good afternoon to our FB Live viewers. This is another session of our HR Virtual Summit PH 2020 Bounce Back HR. Welcome to another live webinar series for a cause powered by Ariva Academy. So, my name is Irish Malanda, your host. With me is my co-host and moderator, the dashing Mr. Howell Mabalot.
Dashing through the snow.
Yes, sir.
In a
Good
one-horse
afternoon.
open sleigh. Good afternoon sa lahat ng ating mga participants. Madam Aris, hindi lang sa Zoom, ano?
Yes.
FB Live.
FB Live.
LinkedIn.
YouTube.
LinkedIn and YouTube. Wow.
Yes. Okay. So our topic this afternoon is from surviving to thriving in the new normal. So before we introduce our guest speaker, sir, let me now welcome our out-of-the-country participants. We have participants from New Delhi, India, Jakarta, Indonesia, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Doha, Qatar, Singapore City, Singapore, Bangkok, Thailand, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Los Angeles, United States, and Chicago, United States. Okay? And in order for us to have a smooth flow of our e-learning sessions, here are the few reminders and house rules. For those of you who are first-time viewers of our webinar, please type in hi in the chat box now. Let me see and let us know where you're from so we can greet you. Okay, let's check who are the first-timers here. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. And let's do sound check also. You will be needing a good quality headset, so use the following codes. We would like to know if you can hear us loud and clear and we are audible. So type in now 111 in the chat box. Loud and clear. Okay. Chrislet, hello. Welcome. Darwin, good afternoon. Okay. Rowell, loud and clear. Leanne, thank you so much. Miss Venus, hello po. Okay. So 111, if you can hear us, 222 means you can hear us. 2121 means our sound is breaking and there's a log. And question mark if you don't understand anything. Okay, we're good. Moving on, we will be having a 2 to 3 minute break after the presentation of our guest speaker and before we move on to the question and answer. For question and answer guidelines, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussion to avoid interruptions. Questions will be entertained after each topic of the session. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click the raise hand button for the administrator to enable the microphone for live questions. Type in your questions at the Q&A box. We will entertain them after the presentation of the speaker. One question at a time will be entertained. For comments and feedback, please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your comments, suggestions, feedbacks for us to improve our future e-learning sessions. And to discuss from surviving to thriving in the new normal, Mr. Howell Mabalot, please introduce our speaker.
Yes, Ma'am Irish, definitely it is an honor for me to introduce our speaker for this afternoon session. She is the CEO of 4D Performance and has achieved great success as a leader, author, and speaker. Based on her research, she believes that Asia is primed to be the next global economic power. However, she also believes that there must be a shift in how the Asian workforce is prepared for this growth and global competitiveness, or there will be a missed opportunity. She grew a home-based training practice into a thriving multi-million-dollar performance management consulting firm. She blends success practices of the West with wellness philosophies of the East for a holistic approach to success. Everybody, let's put your hands together for Dr. Indigo Triplett.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Give me a second while I bring up my slides.
Nice to see you again, Dr. Indigo.
It is truly my pleasure. You know, I think the world of you and Ariva. I applaud you for what you're doing. And I think we're just very fortunate to be in the space together, even though we're not supposed to be in direct contact.
True. And Dr. Indigo, if I may say a very good testimonial about your impact in my life. 2 years ago, August 2018, HR Congress here in the Philippines, I hosted the VIP luncheon, and you were one of the speakers there. And a Filipino asked you, which is easier, to hire or to fire? Of course, all the Filipinos say it's easier to hire and it's harder to fire. And then you gave your answer. It's easier to fire than to hire. And so us Filipinos in the eastern world of the globe was thinking, we thought it was easier to hire than to fire. And you mentioned because you don't know who you're hiring, it's harder. But since you know who you're firing, it's easier. So from that moment on, Dr. Indigo, you have changed and reframed my mind. And thank you for that.
Well, I'm hoping that the things I say today will be life-altering, life-changing, and also inspiring. We spend so much time hearing about all the negative stuff that I think we need to take time out each day to, one, be grateful, and to acknowledge that what is happening is actually opening doors of opportunities for us. Like you and I probably would not have seen each other this year. But True. Because of this, now we can connect in a different way, and I think even on a higher level.
I agree. So Dr. Indigo, without further ado, the center stage is yours. The limelights are yours. Take it away.
See you in a little bit. Okay, you all, you have me, and I feel very fortunate to be here. I'm going to be sharing with you some things that I think are very relevant in terms of what to expect. As you can see on my slide, I have a picture of Asia. And I come to you with a background from the West. I'm from the US, born and raised, but I've been in and out of Asia since 1982, when I was actually in the Marine Corps, serving over in Japan. I don't know if you knew that, Howell, that I was actually in the Marine Corps in Japan.
I knew it, yes.
So I've been coming back and forth. I was in China in 2012 when I was working on my doctorate. I had to do an international study in my internship, so I chose to go to Beijing to do it there. So I've been watching Asia from a distance, coming in and going out, and then I actually moved to Malaysia in 2016. So I've been here since, and I can tell you the things I'm going to share with you are things that I'm bringing from the West that I know you're prepared to embrace here in the East. And so what we're talking about today is achieving sustainable success from surviving to thriving in the new normal. Now, write this down. Please tweet it, put it out on Facebook, because I don't know how to make this happen. But I was talking to a friend back in the US, and I said, I came up with a new quote. I love making up quotes. And this quote that I came up with is, those who do will survive. Those who try, no. It's my quote, so let me get it together. Here we go. Those who do will thrive. Those who try will survive. Those who don't will die. Now that sounds a little scary, doesn't it? But what I'm talking about is connecting. That when we connect and collaborate, those who collaborate will thrive. Those who try will only survive. And those who don't will die. And that's across everything we do in life as we move into the new normal. Like right now, I'm collaborating with Ariva. And I'm doing it because, one, I have a high respect for their products, their services, and who they represent, not just in the Philippines, but globally. And so you're collaborating with me. And through your collaboration, you are tapping into my knowledge, skills, and abilities. That's going to help us thrive. But see, a lot of people are stuck in the survival mode. And that's when you just try, you'll survive. So actually, we're talking about thriving. And if you're not even on here, which if you're not on here, you don't know what I'm saying, they're going to die. And what I mean by die, they will die socially. They'll die, their career is going to stall. Their companies will die. I'm not talking about a physical death here. I'm talking about a death that as a career-minded person, as a business professional, as an owner or leader, you got to connect. You got to collaborate. So that's my first truth of what I want to share with you all as we get started. The next thing I want to share with you is that I have a company called 4D Performance, and it basically mirrors my company that I used to have in the United States. And as you shared with them, I think I heard you say that I was on the Inc. list 3 times. Inc. is like Forbes, but it's for small businesses. And in 2012, I was ranked as the 239th fastest growing companies in America. Now, some of you are like, 239? Out of 500? That's okay. Well, think about it like this. Forbes said that there were 23 or 28 million small businesses that year. So to be 239 out of 28 million, or 23, who's counting? After so many millions, it's the same. So let's just go low score. 23 million, that's not bad. So I'm going to share with you some things that helped me to become one of the fastest growing companies in America 3 times. And part of the time that I was able to not only survive, but thrive is because I understood some things about growing a business, and I understood some things about managing your career. And let me tell you, I've gone through 3 significant crises in America. Remember 9/11? My company actually grew through 9/11 when a lot of companies went out of business. Then we had a thing called anthrax, where people were mailing poison to people it was crazy. It was internal, terrorism. But I weathered that storm as well. And then we had the government shutdown. So the government shutdown for us was significant. And had we stayed shut down, it would have impacted the rest of the world. So those are 3 things that I went through. So when I look at where we are now, I'm concerned, but I'm not. Because I know how to move through these things because I've been there before, and I'm going to take you along with me, you all. I'm going to help you figure out things that you should be looking for, road signs, and so forth, because I've gone there. And so just a little bit about my company. I work with organizations like USAID, where we help build other countries, Turner, CNN. Turner is owned by CNN. NASA, little organization you may have heard of, I don't know, but done some work with some huge organizations like the Pentagon. So some of the things I'm going to share with you are things that I shared with them that now I bring over to Asia, because I believe that Asia is going to be the next superpower, but it comes with a heavy price. The king that wears the crown understands that it's actually heavy. And if you don't do some things differently throughout Asia, not just the Philippines, but throughout Asia, you don't do some things differently, you will lose that power. So today I'm going to be talking about some things you need to start, stop, and continue doing. So if you have any questions, please write them. We said we would wait until the end, but I shared with Howell, I love to be engaged. So if I say something and it's not really clear, please stop me and say, hey, what did you mean by this? Because then I can deal with it at that time. Because very often, let me just share with you, anyone has ever heard me speak more than 3 times will say every time she says something different. It could be the same subject, but every time I say something different, and now that I'm getting older, I don't remember everything I say. I just start talking and it makes sense. And then later on, you'll say, remember you said? It's like, I don't remember that. So you got to stop me as I'm going so that I can share things with you that are relevant to you. Okay? So let's start with what is achieving sustainable success? I want to talk to you about what to expect. I want to talk about leveraging this as an opportunity. And then there are 3 very important things I want you to become aware of. That is managing and developing remote workers, mental wellness to improve performance, and change management. If I can get you all to send me, maybe just a couple of you can share with me, how are there any people listening who manage other people? Are there any managers or anyone in leadership?
So all the Zoom participants, type in your answers if you are managing people, and we'll read it for Dr. Triplett.
And I can see 2 participants raise their hand. Great.
Nathalie, Junji, Cecilia, Cyrene, Bretta May. Yes, they are leading people.
Okay, wonderful. Now, the rest of you, if you don't see yourself as managing or developing employees, I want you to think about it like this. There's a thing called self-management. So we all are managers, and we all must be tasked at leading. So you see on the screen, I talk about leading. I want you to know, whether you raise your hand or not, you're going to be called in a much different way to lead, if not others, yourself. And that's critical to understand. So that's another truth I want you to really take away, that as we move into this next new normal, it is not about formal titles. You really don't need formal titles to sit at home to work any longer. It's really about what you're performing as and how you see yourself. So look at this picture. I love this picture. It says, everyone grab an oar. And you see a picture of these guys. Now, this is probably management or leadership sitting at the one end, and then you have the employees bailing out the water at the other end. Let me share with you where I came up with this concept. Love it. I used to work for an organization, a hospital, and it was a hospital in Atlanta, Georgia called Grady. And what's interesting about this hospital, it is known around the country as the hospital you go to if you're in a car pileup or if you're dying. But it is not the hospital you go to if you have a cold. The joke was, if you go there and you've been shot up multiple times, you will live. But if you go there with a cold, you're gonna die, because they were always they're a crisis place. So I worked for this place, and at one point they decided to start. I don't know if you guys remember when everything started about downsizing. Everybody was downsizing, so they started downsizing at this hospital. And my boss, her boss, and her boss's boss were fired already. So she knew she was on the chopping blocks next. And she would say to me, everyone grab an oar. The ship is sinking. And her thing was, when things start going down, when the boat starts sinking, people usually want to either get off the boat and swim to safety, get off the boat, go to someone else's boat. But basically, people don't understand that we're all in it together, and we gotta row our way to safety. And I heard this, I'll never forget this saying by Martin Luther King, who was one of our greatest civil rights leaders. He said, we may have all come on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. That is key to understanding this whole corona issue, that we are all in the same boat. There is no more Howell's over in that department, so I don't have to worry about him because he's in sales and marketing, and if they cut sales and marketing, I still got my job. No, everyone has to grab an oar. We all have to row to safety. And that whole concept of the plane, when a plane is having issues, the whole thing now, the whole movement is self-care and put on your own mask, right? Well, that's on a plane. We're not in a plane right now. We're in a boat. And guess what? The boat is rocking because we're in a storm. And in this storm, no one gets to sit back and look at everyone else and figure out how they can just avoid what's coming. We're all in this together. So I need you to understand that as I go through what I'm talking about. So the things that I'm talking about really boils down to change. We are in the midst of change. Every day is change. And it's amazing. I don't know if you notice, Howell, but I'm in the house with 3 different people, well, 2 different people. And each of us are dealing with this totally different than each other. And so something I want you to understand is that statistically, they have come to say that change has a 70% failure rate. That's statistically. So what they're saying basically is that the MCO, which is about change, different lockdowns, different shutdowns, different things that we're doing to deal with this virus, 70% is not going to work because usually the plans aren't well thought out. They don't have everyone on board. People don't understand. There's a lot of confusion. When you put all that in, that's why change doesn't work. So you all, looking at your company and looking at your career, what are you doing to make sure that you have a successful whatever it is? So think about it like this, you all. I want you to look on your desk, wherever you are. Just look, like for instance, I have here a cup. I want you to take whatever is on your desk and put it somewhere else. Go ahead. Take something on your desk, put it somewhere else. So what you just did was change. That was fast. That was quick. You just moved something to someplace else. Now, what is slow is how you feel about it. See, some of you are looking at whatever you moved and you're like, I don't want my water over here. I want my water over here because it's easier for me to get to. But if I leave it there, I'm still feeling the change. And see, the reason why change doesn't always work is because we look at the technical part of change. This is technical. That's technical. But how you feel about it, that is what causes the disruption in our lives, in our career, in our company. It's the people component of change. And so we have to make sure that whatever you do as a business leader, as a corporate leader, as a manager, as a self-manager, how are you handling the change that is occurring? How are you handling it? Are you talking to people about it? So if you want your change effort to work, there has to be some things that will take place, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later. That is my last slide where I really drill in more about change. So when we start looking at why change efforts fail, it's because of a lack of skilled employees. It's skilled employees. Sometimes we don't have the employees that we need in the right seat. There's a book that talks about, having the right employees on the right bus in the right seat. And now you may have started seeing that some people are on board that have been in the wrong seat for years. And maybe it's just a matter of tweaking. Maybe it's a matter of even taking them off the bus and putting them on a different bus. I can't speak for you what will work for you, but now is the time that you should start paying attention to your organization and assessing what works and what's not working. So skilled employees equal good employees. If you look at this picture in the corner, it says good employees are directly proportional to success. When they're working in unison and when they support the mission, the goals, the vision, that's when they're a good employee. And very often, when things were normal, we didn't really give employees an option to show that they were on board and that they were a good employee. But now With skilled employees, you will have good employees. So that means we need to make sure our employees are skilled. Let me say this. What we're doing right now is training, for lack of a better phrase, right? And there's a thing that we do in the US called IDP, Individual Development Plans. Different companies, different organizations, different countries call it different things, KPIs and so forth. So let me just really level set for you. What we are doing right now is what we call knowledge, KSA, knowledge, skills, abilities. And very often we overtrain people. In America, I used to write about this, that Americans are overtrained. I guarantee you, even in the Philippines, people are overtrained. And what I mean by that is that they get a lot of knowledge, but do they get the opportunity to develop skills? Or do they have the opportunity to increase their abilities? What I'm giving you is pure knowledge, K, not S. So what I'm saying is, when you finish with this, taking notes, looking at it, then figure out what skills do I need to increase, enhance, develop, so that either I'm a good employee or I am creating good employees. So here are the three things that I want to cover to really deal with that. Remote workers. In America, I used to call it telecommuters. I love telecommuters because it's not really about remote. I don't like the phrase remote, and let me tell you why. When I think of remote, I think of an island. Remote, it's away. Nothing good comes out of isolation. Nothing good comes out of being alone. So if we leave people alone to their own devices out there, they're remote in their office, their home office. I don't think that brings unity. I don't think that is healthy. So I prefer telecommuters. And why I call it telecommuters is that when you are commuting to work, you're in a car. Now we're on a phone, we're on internet. So it's telecommute. So I'm going to use the word remote because that's what a lot of people know, but I prefer telecommuting. So every now and then I'm going to say telecommuter and you'll know I'm talking about remote workers. So I'm going to be talking about remote workers and why it's important for us to get them skilled up. I see something there. That's right. Change of title. Yes. I like it too. See, you guys are talking to me. Thank you. Then the next thing we're going to talk about is mental wellness. Now, again, so that it is, what's the word? User-friendly. I use the word mental wellness, but I'm going to tell you all what it really is. Mental health. I'm going to talk about mental health. And that is so taboo that we keep trying to change it into other words. But at the end of the day, when you see the word mental, it is what it is. So we're going to talk about mental well-being and why that's important for you as a skilled employee and as a good employer. And then the last thing, I'm going to circle back around and really drill in deep about change management. So those are my three platforms for you all today, because everything that people are talking about really comes back to those three things. I bet my life on it. And the thing is, the reason why I was successful for 20-something years with my company is because I was able to predict where my government was going. As you know, we have, we vote in a president. And every time we vote in a new president, over 20 years, I had different presidents that I had to work under. And a lot of people end up going out of business because if a Democrat get in, they may not be as user-friendly for small businesses, while if a Republican get in, they may not be all that great for programs that are about people. So that's the myth. But at the end of the day, when you figure out where things are going, then you can navigate it. and you can be aligned with where you need to go. So these are the three things I want to share with you, because these are the three things that I have seen for myself to manifest and become very critical when we start talking about disruption. So good employees will embrace change is the last piece. So here I have work-life balance at a new level. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. People have complained forever about wanting work-life balance. Everybody said, I want work-life balance. People have prayed for it. They've done everything to get work-life balance. And guess what? Now you got it. Now you have it. You are sitting in the house with your kids, the little doggy sitting there, everybody's in the house together. But here's what I think you're probably realizing. And let me make sure. Howell, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly, doctor.
Thank you. This is what I've come to know about work-life balance. It's a unicorn. Is that real? There's no such thing as work-life balance. This is why. What you're saying when you say you want work-life balance is, I want work and I want my life and I want it to be balanced. But no, you guys, you have life, you have work, you have family, you have parents, you have social, you have religion, you have clubs. You see what I mean? All of that falls under life. Work is not separate. It is not this weird entity out there that you go to. It's your life. It's part of your life. The problem that we have, you all, is that we don't know how much time to put in each of these. So this is where it's becoming very difficult for remote workers, for telecommuters, is that because we never learned how to balance our work, family, friends, social, the dog, the parents. Now that we're all under one roof, you really don't know what to do with it. You don't know when to wash clothes. You don't know when to get on the phone. I've seen people on business meetings holding their babies because they haven't figured out that life is one big thing and you have to compartmentalize it and manage it. And so when I talk to you all about this, the first thing is that you need to know how to manage as managers. How do you manage people who are sitting at home? Because if they've never learned how to manage work life in the office, why do we think that they're going to be able to do it naturally when they're sitting at home with all these distractions? So we got to learn how to manage these distractions. I have a friend here in Malaysia, and I won't say who she is or what university she works for, but get this. I needed her to read something for me. And it was around 10 o'clock at night. Now, she's a friend, so we're up late and we share stuff all the time. And she said, I'm going to have to get this to you first thing in the morning because I have to work. I have something I'm working on. Like, girl, it's almost 11 o'clock. What do you mean you're still working? She's like, I know. All day they send me stuff. And now I'm waiting for one of my colleagues to send something because we have to have it done by the morning time. Now, this is how she ended that conversation. As soon as I can, I'm quitting this job, but I have nowhere I can go right now. Leaders, managers of corporations, small businesses, you may be able to take advantage of people right now because they have no options. But when things open up, your best bet is to retain your top talent. She is top talent, and they don't know that she's thinking about going somewhere else as soon as she gets an opportunity because they're not managing her correctly. They're actually abusing her. I had a woman who became pregnant, had her child, and within 2 years, she got pregnant again. Now, mind you, I had 50 employees in Atlanta, Georgia, 50 employees in Washington, D.C. So I had quite a few employees for a small business. But I needed every person. Every person had many, many different roles under their position. And this person was a vice president. So you can only imagine she had a lot of responsibility. So she tried to hide that she was pregnant. Now, this is not a testament to me at the moment, but let me share with you. She was scared. She was scared that I would become angry because the last time she was pregnant, it was disruptive to our work. So she figured this time I probably would fire her. Well, by this time, I had already started taking leadership classes and actually working on my doctorate in values-driven leadership. So I understood servant leadership now. I understood compassion. I understood all these things that made me a better person and a better leader. So when I found out, when she got up enough courage to come to me, I said, well, have a seat. Let's figure out how we can make this work. So what we came up with is that she would work from home before she had the baby, so many days a week to get accustomed to it. And then after she had the baby, we would distribute her work to other people. And then after she's been home for a while, so that she can stay home longer with her children, we started working out a schedule for her to be home. Now, what that was based on is not what I did it. It was based on her work schedule, meaning she had a young baby. She started figuring out when the baby would be asleep. So that meant we did not have a 9-to-5 relationship. We had a relationship that she would sometimes start early in the morning, break away, and then come back midday, and then also be available in a little part of the evening because she was doing things around her life, around her family. And that worked wonderfully. I mean, we got more performance out of her. And that's the key. Don't, as you start working with telecommuters, you cannot evaluate them on FaceTime, what you see. You got to evaluate them on performance now. We've been talking performance for years, but we really haven't been doing that. We've been doing it based on, she got here at 8 o'clock and she didn't leave until 6. I really think she's one of my best performers. No, she's just a good show-upper. So we have to start focusing on people having results. And that means doing some things that you might not be comfortable with. I'm a social person. I like seeing my employees. So I missed her being in the office. But then I learned that it was much better. Then I even started offering where our employees started saying, we want to do that. And it was working. So we started doing things where they could take off. They made long days, Monday through Thursday, long days. And they took off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or they took off Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It was up to them. And I saw more performance. So you have to learn to manage people who are working from home. And that's just one example. There are slews of them. And the reason why I'm not going in deep, remember, this is about me sharing knowledge with you. If you would like to have actual skill building around this, more information, please get in touch with Ariva because everything I'm talking about can be a customized program for your organization. So the next thing is employees becoming entrepreneurs. I love this. So we always hear about entrepreneurs, right? Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. But some people never become an entrepreneur because they don't like the uncertainty of not having a paycheck and things like that. What I would like for you to do is think about your employees being an intrapreneur. That means they're internal to the organization, but they act like entrepreneurs. If I can get you all to just type in what are indicators or what are personalities or behaviors of entrepreneurs. Like I'll give you one. Entrepreneurs come in before it's time to start work. Meaning, if you went to a donut shop and they start at 9 o'clock, but you're standing there at 9 o'clock and they say, oh, wait a minute, we haven't finished the donuts yet. What? You're a donut shop. That's all you should be doing. It's donuts. So you should be open for business. So an entrepreneur, it means if you work from 9 to 5, you log in like 8:15, 8:50. You don't log in at 9:10. Let me see, what did someone say? They take initiatives, so suggest solutions, possible problems. Yes, that's what an entrepreneur does. They also do time management. Yes, that's an entrepreneur. But guess what? If everyone could do that, they'd be an entrepreneur by now. Entrepreneurism is not natural. Actually, most people who are entrepreneurs are nuts. You got to be nuts to be able to say, I want to go out, I want to work as hard as I can, make probably nothing for a while, and love what I'm doing and worry about it every day. Who wants to do that? So when you think about entrepreneurs, risk taker, yes, that's an entrepreneur. So we have to teach people to be entrepreneurs. Conscious of cost saving measures, yes. Entrepreneurs will come to you because they will figure out ways to streamline things. But here's the thing, if you never gave them the opportunity to do it while in the office, how comfortable will they type in something and say, hey, I was working on this project and I figured out a way that we can do this in less time and less money if we do X, Y, Z. If they weren't able to do that with you while in the office, they're going to have even a harder time doing it away from you. So we have to teach them. Those are skills. Visionary, yes. These are all things that we have to teach our people if we want them to be successful as remote workers or telecommuters. Now, here's the last thing on this. I mean, there's a lot of things, but we only got so much time. Here's the last thing on the whole remote worker telecommuter. Change management, career management issues. One of the things, now let me share with you, I did probably 2 years of nothing but helping the federal government transition to telecommuters. That became a big thing back in 2008. So a lot of the stuff I'm telling you about, we started doing a long time ago for many reasons. One was to cut down costs. When you think about it, you spend more time in your vehicle getting to work, getting there and getting home, that we can trim all that off. So we started finding that it was more productive and got more performance by doing telecommuting. So the biggest thing that I found, though, is that people were very concerned about their career. And this is why. We like to say that we promote people based on what they do. But let me share something with you. This is the Indigoism. People hire you for what you can do and fire you for who you are. I very rarely see people get fired because they can't do the job. I see people get fired because I don't like them. I didn't like the way she did this. Did you notice how she does that? It's all about personality usually. It's very rarely about the work. It's about the person. People hire you for what you can do and usually fire you for who you are. Now, with that being said, if a person has left a bad image on the table before we went into lockdown, that's the image they remember you having of them. How do they climb out of that hole? At what point do they get to stop by your office and say, hey, boss, want to grab coffee? Those days are over. Well, at least for now. They may come back when we ever get out of lockdown. But say, for instance, if I offended Howell, and the next time I'm back in the Philippines, I can say, hey, Howell, let's grab dinner. Let's grab lunch. And I can start working on that relationship. But if this is all we got, it's kind of hard. So people realize that it's difficult to manage your career. Also, think about it like this. At what time or point are they visible? See, there's a thing called manage by walking. Has anybody ever heard of that? Manage by walking. Now, I can get up right now and walk around this table and come back, and I haven't seen anybody. So my manage by walking doesn't work anymore. So you got to find other ways to get people involved. And this is what I recommend under career management issues. Start having more meetings, you all. Yes, we cut that out. Remember, everybody hated meetings. No, meetings are what's going to keep us together. I used to do what was called Monday morning meetings. Now, before I started taking leadership classes and became a better leader, which if you read any articles about me, it said my company became a multi-million-dollar company when I became a better leader. So this is something I learned. I used to do what was called Monday morning meetings. And I know, love me where I am. I'm just being transparent to help you. I used to call it MOURNING, Monday morning meetings, because this is what I knew. I was going to get you about all the stuff you did wrong. I'm going to bring awareness to how you messed up. I am going to clean house every Monday morning. I started losing the best people that way. People started shutting down. People didn't want to have meetings. How many of you have seen people say, I hate meetings? They hate meetings because usually they are the source of your frustration. And they have learned that I don't want to be in meetings because they're going to call on me and I'm not going to be ready, or I'm going to be the one that's going to, be found out that I'm making mistakes. So, oh, thank you. Managed by Walking, Gemba in Japanese. Love it. Thank you. So, as I began to develop leadership skills, then I started calling Monday morning meetings. And on Monday mornings, we would come together. And what I would do before I even opened up anything, this is how great Monday morning meetings became. One, everyone had to be there. Even if you were remote, you had to call in. That's how important it was. Even if I was someplace else, I would call in for these Monday morning meetings, even if I wasn't heading it. And then I distributed in terms of who would all be responsible for the Monday morning meetings. So sometimes Hal would lead it. Sometimes Ann would lead it. So everyone got an opportunity to lead it. So no one felt as if they were just watching me and hearing me. And then I came up with practices for them to do. Like, we may start and everyone would go around the room and we would say what we're grateful for. So I did things to really raise the vibration and the positivity in the room that people love. So people love coming to the meetings because they got edified, they got recognized. And these are three things that I want to share with you that people want. Everybody wants. I don't care where you are. One, I want you to understand is that love is a universal language. You got to speak the language of love. I don't care if you're a CEO of a MNC. I don't care if you're a small business owner or if you are a first line manager at a manufacturing company. The one language that is universal is love. I love my employees and I got more out of them and they got more out of me because of that language. The other language is a smile. I don't care where you go in the world. If you smile, people understand that. I don't know what it is, but anywhere in the world, the smile is universal. So those are two things. But here are the three things that I have come to understand on a universal level, you all. People want to be valued, respected, and heard. So in these Monday morning meetings, or as Raul said, no, not Raul, somebody said Friday. Oh, yeah, Hazel. As Hazel said, Friday night meetings. Make sure that people are valued, respected, and heard. Yes, you may have to give some bad news. Maybe you have to say some things that people are not going to agree with, but you have to do it with a level of respect to let people know that they're being heard and that you value them. And the last thing on that is that you must have more transparency. If something is happening in your organization that's going to impact them, the last thing anybody wants to do, I can guarantee you, Cecilia does not want to turn on the radio and hear that her company is downsizing. She needed to hear that before the media heard it. People need to hear from you. Leaders, your people need to know what you're thinking about doing. Even if you're not sure, you need to have a meeting, an all hands meeting, and Zoom can hold 100 people in each box. So you can have a lot of employees. You can even split it up, but you need to get on Zoom or something and say, thank you for joining me. I appreciate, I value, and I respect you as my employees. I want you to understand that we have everything under control. There are a couple of glitches we're working out, but I hope we're all back in the office soon. Be safe. They need to hear from you. You have to have what I call fireside chats, especially if you're HR. You HR people, this is beholden of you to have this conversation with your leaders to let them know they need to talk to your people if you want to drive out fear. And that is the next thing, driving out fear. You see this person sitting here? They have a lot of questions. I guarantee 2 out of 3 you can answer. 1 you may not know, but at least let them know you don't know. And I do this exercise where I give this scenario. And at the end, I ask people, what did they know from this story? And most of the time, people will never say they don't know. Something about adults don't like saying, I don't know. Have you ever had somebody give you bad instructions on how to get somewhere? And when you realize it, you realize they don't know where the place is at. But yet they tell you, take a right and go down about 2 blocks, take a left. Then they go, no, take a left. And you're sitting there like, I don't think they know. But they rather give you bogus instruction than to tell you the truth. Because the truth would mean, I don't know. So get in the habit of letting people know you don't know, but at least be transparent. So when we talk about the second thing that is very important here, it is mental wellness. Let me share with you all. When we come out of this, people are going to come out with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. See, a lot of times people think PTSD is from military, from war. No. Children who've been abused have PTSD. Women who've been abused have PTSD. Men who've been abandoned, like say their father left them or their wife left them, they sometimes suffer from PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder means your body is responding to something that is not, they weren't prepared for, and that it caused them to become very stressed. And the body continues to react to it even after the stress is gone. So when we come out of lockdown, guess what? People are stressed. People are fearful. You're going to have depression. You're going to have levels of sadness you've never seen before. You will have anxiety. And the thing is, I'm saying when we come out, it's already started. People are already stressed, depressed, anxious, and dealing with trauma, especially if they can't afford the place that they live or if their job salary is being cut. That's very traumatic on people. And if you think for a second, people can come back to the office or even sit in their home and work on your project and not think about all that is going on in their life, you are sadly mistaken, because they are showing up as whole people. Like I'm in my home right now and I have, remember, life, work, family, parents, grandparents, children in college. All of these are my responsibility and in my purview, right? If one of them go wrong, I cannot just sit here and act like nothing's wrong. I can, but you know what that's called? It's called presentism. See, there's absenteeism when people stop coming to work, and then there's presenteeism. That's where they're showing up, but they're really not there. And so you have to understand mental distress, that people are under mental distress, and you're going to have to deal with it. Unfortunately, many of us think they should be adults and go and get help, but many of them will suffer in silence. They won't say anything because of the stigma associated with mental disorder or dis-ease. So you're going to have to put initiatives in place to help them. CNN is one of my clients back in the day where I did mental health for them. And here is how taboo mental health is. If you called CNN right now and said, did you work with a Dr. Indigo on PTSD for your employees? They will say, we could neither confirm nor deny. That's it. No one admits to even getting these types of services because it is so stigmatic. But I think I made up a word. I don't know if stigmatic is true or real, but hey, let's make it work. Put it in Wikipedia. I said it, stigmatic. So we have to realize that we are moving into a new dawn, a new day where mental health is impacted. Think about it in this term. You have physical health. I cannot look at Howell and say he has no physical health because he does. I can see it. But mental health is real too. Mental health is neither good nor bad. It is a state. It is good, healthy mental health, all the way to bad illness mental health. And you run along that spectrum. Now, here's where the problem comes in. You could be perfectly fine right now. Each one of you can be healthy. Between here and here, healthy, right? But you can get a phone call tonight. That phone call can move you from here to right there. If you found out right now that your whole family, something, I'll use me as an example. I was here. I stay along in this area because I practice self-care and I understand mental health, things to do to take care of myself and to alleviate stress and so forth. But I was talking to one of my relatives back in Chicago, and she said my uncle was in the hospital with corona, and no one could talk to him because he was in a public hospital. He didn't have money, so he's not being treated with the utmost care, I assure you. He didn't have insurance. So we could not contact him. We couldn't talk to doctors. I cried. I moved from here to here. But I knew things to do to move from here back over here. And a lot of people don't know what to do because a lot of us aren't resilient. We haven't been tested. We haven't been in this situation. We don't talk about mental health. So a lot of people don't know things like, for instance, I'll give you one thing that you can do to change your mental health right now. Many of you are watching CNN and all these other news stations. I'm not saying don't watch the news, but I will say this. Think about a fire hydrant. A fire hydrant blows out water, right? I tell you, stop watching the news like it's a fire hydrant and take the news like this. Sip on it. Sip on the news. And this is what I mean by that. Is that, first of all, there is nothing new on the news. When was the last time you heard something new? It's not. So why are you watching it all day? Why are you letting it play in the background? Why are you going to bed with those nightmares? You know, when my sons and I sit down sometime, we'll say, you want to watch a horror movie? And we're like, yeah. And we'll turn on the news. That's how bad the news can be. So if you want to increase your mental well-being, turn off the news. Watch it in small dosages, just enough that you're informed. And when they start repeating it, turn it off. You don't need to keep that in your subconscious, building, and building. The next thing is, provide a platform for transparency. If you are in a decision-making role in your organization, you have to allow people to be able to come to you and say, I'm dealing with stress. I'm at my wit's end. I am. But if you don't allow them to do that, they're going to continue doing your work, but only at half capacity. Just this week, and that's why I say, you know, you got to stop me while I'm talking because I speak from the heart. Just this week, I went on a self-care moment. Last night, I did not go to my Rotary meeting. And they were like, oh, Indigo, we're having fellowship. You need to come to Rotary. And I wrote them, I am doing self-care. I needed that for me because this is why anyone that's been following me will know that when we first went on lockdown, every day I did a live cast on healing and wellness and all that kind of stuff. And anyone that does this kind of stuff knows it's draining. Then I went to 2 days a week. And then I did 2 days a week plus a Serenity Sunday, where I come on Sunday and I do more of a spiritual conversation for an hour. Draining, but I love it. You can love something and it can still be draining. Think about stress does not know positive and negative stress. Your body doesn't know the difference. It takes it all in. So think about it like this. Have you ever been a part of a wedding? All positive, right? But when you're done, you are exhausted. So stress does not know positive or negative. It only knows of being overwhelmed. And because I talk about this stuff so much, my children understand it. And my son said, Mom, you need to listen to yourself. You have told people how to put on the mask. You have gone up and down the aisle showing people how to use the mask. You've even helped people do their seatbelt, and you made sure everyone's seatbelt is fastened. It's time for you to sit down and put on your seatbelt and mask. And he was right. I was exhausted this week. And so that is self-care, and a lot of people don't know how to do self-care. So if we go back to number 2 and someone comes to you and say, I'm exhausted, it's up to you to say, why don't you take a day off? Take a day off. Because here's my thought on this. If your company is going to go in the ground from one of your employees taking a day off, you have bigger problems than that. We have to allow people to heal over the next few months. So that's a whole nother, I can go on and on. Like I said, we have workshops on this stuff, but you got to allow people to be transparent. And then increase communication in meetings. Once again, this is your opportunity to see your employees. Be careful of allowing employees to come in and only putting up a silhouette of themselves or a character of themselves. You want to see them. And when you start seeing employees with bags under their eyes, maybe they had a full head of hair and now it's less and less, those are signs of stress. You can see stress. Stress is like wearing a whole outfit. It just covers you up. So in these meetings, challenge people to show themselves. And if that's the case where people don't want to because it's early and they don't feel presentable, do it in the evening. Like someone said, they do it Friday evening. But definitely allow people to show up as themselves. Okay, the last one, and that will bring conclusion and we can have our break. So, change management, you guys. I want to end with this. You see the picture here. We have the candle, we have the light bulb, we have the fluorescent, and now we have that spaceship light bulb. Back in the day, I guarantee you, whoever came up with the first light, that lamp being the candle, was patting themselves on the back and said, we did it. We can now walk outside at night. We can now read in the dark. You know, we have light indoors. We will be relevant forever. Then the light bulb came. We don't need the light bulb. We don't need the lamp as much. Then the fluorescent came. So now things keep changing. But here's the thing. We still have candles, right? So it's still around, but do we use it for the same purpose? Not necessarily, unless you want to get romantic. And I'm single, so no candles burning up in this camp. But for those of you who have somebody locked in with you, good for you. Bring out the candles. But candles, by and large, are not used for the same thing. You can go to the store and you'll still see candles, but you see more light bulbs, all kinds of long ones and everything. So what does that mean for you all? What I'm telling you is that if you want to thrive, you must change. You must remain relevant. Look at your organization and figure out, what do you need? What do you have in terms of your bench strength? Who do you have available in your company that you can actually pull at any point to do certain things? You might need the guy who's the candle, but what else can he offer? What else can he do? Do you need to skill him up so that he can do other things? For instance, drop some oil. Now he's a scented candle. So it's being creative, it's being innovative and understanding that there's other things that we must do to make sure that everyone is relevant, to include you. It's not just about your company and its products and services. Are you still relevant? I had to start doing this stuff. People told me to do this years ago, and I refused. I said, I am not doing online. I'm a brick and mortar girl. I like being in the classroom. I like being on the stage. The world is my stage. Now I'm sitting in my living room or in my dining room, and that's where it has gone. If I would have picked up on this, I would be so much further ahead than everyone else that are now scrambling to do this, because I would have had a following by now. Now I'm trying to grow a following. So don't be that person who wait until everything has happened to say, well, maybe I should have a light bulb. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Don't fight what's happening. Leverage what's happening. This was a futurist that came up with this a long time ago. If you take what's happening now and figure out, how do I leverage this? You will be in a much better position. I'm spiritual, so allow me to have my spiritual moment, Howell. I give God glory on all that is happening because it is allowing me to step into my greatness. I was pretty great up on that big stage, but right now I am figuring out ways to be even greater. So this is your opportunity, Asia, to step into your greatness. This is your opportunity to show the world that you are in front of what's happening, not following what's happening. If you don't, remember, those who do will thrive. Those who try will survive, and those who don't will die. Please tweet that. Dr. Indigo said, and I'm going to turn it back over to Howell.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo. Big hand, everyone. Put your hands together for Dr. Indigo.
My pleasure.
Not only did you inform us with great knowledge, you also have inspired us. And thank you for bringing into the scene the need to be spiritual. I love it when you said step into your greatness, which means the greatness is there. We just have to step into it. I felt like I was in a church. I still feel like I'm in a church. And imagine, this is the power of not only your spiritual strength and experience in life, it's also the power of your compassion. And when you mentioned about value, respect, and hear your people, that's wonderful. And that is the key for every one of us, not only to survive, but also thrive. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll all be dead.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dr. Indigo.
My pleasure.
For our participants, here's what we need to do, because we will be going on a break for 2 minutes, and Dr. Indigo has to get herself a cup of coffee, or you might want to grab a bite. So we'll give you 2 minutes to have whatever it is during our 2-minute break, and type in your question at the Q&A box. And when we return, after 2 minutes, we'll be back for the second part. If the first part has been enriching and exciting, I'm sure the second part will be even more of that, because we will hear directly from Dr. Indigo your personal questions and be ready to be spiritual charged. Don't go away. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Thank you, Howell.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
and welcome back to the afternoon session. This is the second part of Dr. Indigo Triplett's seminar or webinar, and we would like to thank our participants who are watching us right now via Zoom, FB Live, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And before we go back to our dear speaker for this afternoon, what we're seeing right now is the slide about HR Virtual Summit Philippines 2020, brought to you by Ariva Academy. And we have been doing this, of course, our CEO, Sir J.M. Atienzo, and with our president, Ariva President, Michelle Arish Malonda Samson, thought of what to give to the Filipino people, the clients, the viewers, the HR practitioners during this time of COVID-19 pandemic. And they thought of giving you free content. And this would have not happened without the volunteerism of resource speakers, valuable people, just like Dr. Indigo. And what we can do now is, if we were able to give you something, we're not asking you to give us back anything. No, we'd like you to give something forward or pay forward someone who is in dire need. And I'm talking about the Bayanihan Act 2020. So Bayanihan, which means coming together as a people, being heroes of our country, our nation, we encourage you to take care, or at least take opportunity of this platform so you can make an impact as well by donating what is okay with you, something that will not really hurt you, whether it's 50 pesos, 100 pesos, 200 pesos, $1, $2, it's up to you. But whatever you will give to this cause will go to Mahayhay Laguna, the poorest of the poor. And it will be an opportunity for you to be a blessing. I like it when Dr. Indigo Triplett mentioned about spirituality. This is an act of spirituality. And we thank you in advance for whatever will you give. 100% we will give it, and it will go to the Bayanihan Act 2020. Again, thank you so much, our dear participants. And thank you again, Dr. Indigo Triplett, for joining us this afternoon. Again, big hand for Dr. Indigo. Dr. Indigo, thank you for giving your services for free. We appreciate it a lot.
Ariva supported me, so it's about collaborating.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo. And now we will go to the Q&A, like I mentioned a while back. This is the more exciting. The first part has been very exciting. The second part is also, if not even more exciting, because like Dr. Indigo has mentioned, she can tackle a topic several times and come up with different things to say. And I'm excited. I'm excited about what will she be saying to us today. Zoom participants, here's your opportunity. Type in your question with the Q&A box, and we encourage you to ask your questions live. So for our Zoom live viewers, participants, click the raise button so we can see you and we can hear you. For our Facebook live viewers, type in your questions on the comment box and we will read it for you. Now, Dr. Indigo, we're being watched internationally, globally right now. So we mentioned a while back through Miss Irish, the international participants. So now we're going to, if it's okay with you, I'll just read the national participants here in the Philippines. Okay, so we greet you and we thank you for supporting and participating in this workshop. People from Cavite, La Union, Bacolod City, Baguio City, Batangas City, Benguet, Boac Marinduque, Gasan Marinduque, Cagayan de Oro City, Calapan City, Batangas Province, Candelaria, Quezon, Lucban, Quezon, mga kababayan ko, Cebu City, Davao City, Dumaguete City, Coronadal, Laguna, Samar, and Tagum City. This morning, we also mentioned and greeted the birthday celebrants. So if you can just message me if there are some people. So Raquel Gonzalez, happy birthday! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. So Indigo, asking you the first question from the pre-sent question. This has been sent to us last night, and we'd like to thank them for asking these questions. So, the first is from Karina Patricia Apostol. From Surviving to Thriving, do you think working remotely will be the new normal? How do you suggest HR professionals ensure productivity and quality of work from their employees, even if we cannot monitor them physically? What is the best way to hire and onboard employees remotely? How can we best support employees with the highest risk profile? So thank you, Kana Patricia.
Okay, so let's go back to, do I believe that it's going to be the new normal?
Yes.
I do. And the reason why is because it saves a lot of money for companies. I'm concerned about what are they going to do with all of these buildings, because I think a lot of them are going to start moving their office from brick and mortar to telecommuting, but not all. So in my opinion, is those companies that aren't doing it and really don't want to do it as an opportunity to, to inspire and motivate your employees. It is, a lot of people love, once they learn how to do it, they love working from home and they actually do well. So if it's not on your horizon, consider how can you infuse it or implement it. It could be like how I just had people being able to work long hours during the week and then take an extra day off to make a 3-day weekend. Whatever your company can afford in terms of people not being on site, you'll be amazed if you allow them to start telecommuting. So that's first. Yes, I think a lot of companies will, and those who don't, I think employees will start finding ways to leave you to go over to those people who are offering it. Now, here's the backlash of all of it, is that people who are social and love being, extroverts, they have a hard time with this. So you have to find opportunities for them to be able to come together, which means maybe having meetings once a week in person. It may mean doing some, what I used to call forced fun. And I didn't come up with forced fun. It's something we did in the Marine Corps. And what forced fun meant is that our leader forced us to have fun. Now that sounds crazy, but what it meant is when we had the government shutdown, which was really scary, because I would say 99% of my client base was the government. And all the work that I had done, I was not being paid for it because everyone was gone. And I still had my employees that I had to make payroll. So everyone was worried, everyone was nervous. So I did a forced fun. And this is what I did for forced fun. I took them to a park. I had it catered by Subway, and we played kickball as adults. Can't make this up. We got a ball, we chose teams, and we played kickball one afternoon as forced fun. Now you're probably wondering, how does that help anything? One, it let them see I cared about them. Two, it got their mind off of what we weren't doing to focus on having fun at that moment. Three, when we got back to the office, we talked about that for weeks. We talked about the vice president that failed. We talked about the COO who literally had to take pain pills, and we had to carry him off the field because he tried to slide in and hurt himself. And it was hilarious. We talked about how competitive we were. Now, this is what I mean by becoming innovative. If you want to improve performance, increase productivity, it doesn't always have to be work-centric. Sometimes it's giving people more of what will develop them spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and things like that. And when you make the mistake of only focusing on work, you're not going to get maximum capacity. You just don't. So coming up with ways to get people involved when they're working from home will help you to manage them better. In terms of actual management, it's very difficult for me to give you any type of do this, and that, because management is a process. It's formula based. So depending on what industry you're in, management styles change, depending on what types of manager, depending on your product. So for that part of your question, I really want to say, get in touch with Ariva, ask to have some training done around management, pure management itself, because that's a whole class. Let's face it, some people go to college and get a whole semester on managing.
True.
So I hope that helps.
It will help a lot, Dr. Indigo. Thank you so much. Now, this will be even more exciting because we have a Zoom live question, which means we're going to see you and hear from you, Cromwell Maestrado.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon, and it's truly my great pleasure again, ma'am, and sir, for making me included on this very one-of-a-kind and training opportunity. Thank you so much. Yes, doctor, if I may ask, it's all about training, since we are one of, if not most of us, are the guidepost of an organization, since we are the learning professionals, maybe, and internal consultants to call off. My only question is that you made mention earlier about overtraining. Do we have any specific approaches that we could define training in the organization just to focus on to probably run the training like a business? And in the long run, we could have a profitable return on investment.
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that. Let me clarify when I say overtrained. It's not so much that people are overtrained, it's what they're trained on. For instance, people don't train for outcome. They train for more knowledge, that I want you to understand these things, versus outcome is I want you to be able to do those things. If I train, let's say I train you on how to cook. So what a lot of people do is training where they show you the ingredients, they show you what things you need to put in, they tell you how long something should be, and that's knowledge. Actual training is we put a camera in the kitchen with you and me, and you actually do it in real time so that you can ask questions as things burn. You can ask questions as you're cutting up stuff and making some mistakes and things like that. And then we follow up a few weeks later when you do it alone. And that's the type of training that's not happening very often. A lot of training is knowledge-based. I mean, really think about some of the training. Usually we see training that is skill-based for things like learning how to work the computer or learning how to be a cashier. That's very skill-based. But when we start talking about professionals, we usually keep pushing a lot of knowledge on them, more and more knowledge versus let's actually do this. And that's a little more creative, and that takes more time for people to develop that type of training. Because what that means is that we have to set up things for you to actually do something. For instance, I did some training last year for Ariva, which was performance management. We had to practice on each other, and it was hard because I had to have people actually say to each other, give negative feedback. Well, you Philippines don't like giving negative feedback. I don't know why, I don't know where it came from, but let's be honest. Cromwell, do you like giving people bad news?
Right, I understand that. Well, definitely, because they regarded, most organizations, even the stakeholders, usually regarded training as an expense and a cost for the organization. But they don't know, well, probably some of them didn't know exactly what the value added principles of training in return to the business in general. So I think that's what they are really probably foggy about. thinking if you're not really giving or receiving any buy-in from the top management, then that would surely be a great downfall for any HR training organization if they don't recognize training as a value-added principle in the business, in a corporate strategy. So that's why I'm asking about this, because if you don't have any, shall we say, more solid foundation how you present your proposal or you build your business case to execute training, as far as competency is concerned and as far as the job requirements, job design is concerned, well, I think that would be very beneficial as well.
And I think you're 100% right. I think what happens very often with HR professionals and especially trainers, they talk about, and you see it all the time, and I challenge you, everyone listening, if you're an HR or if you're a trainer, go and look at some different conferences, go look at some different proposals. Most of them will all have the benefits. You know how they say, what are 4 takeaways? What are 3 takeaways? Very rarely do people say that we will improve by 15%, 10%, 20%. They don't quantify. They don't say within 1 quarter, or within 2 weeks, which is measurable, within this amount of time, you will see an increase in the amount of XYZs. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times trainers speak in terms of the feel-good part, or they'll walk away with the understanding of, they'll walk away with a better an experience. You know what I mean? It's not about they will gain, they will improve, they will increase, they will minimize. Those are all things that are measurable. And then that's when a business owner, CEO, or anyone in true leadership can look at and say, okay, they're telling me this is going to cost basically $200 per person. And when they come through this, what will they get? Well, here it says they're going to increase by 10% on XYZ. That's measurable. Now I can come back and measure that. And if it's not happening, I can then say, you know, we did this, we invested in that, what's going on? But when you do the fluffies of, you know, they'll improve, they'll, you know, the verbiage, we all heard it. It's hard for a leader to get behind that because it's not measurable. They got where they are because they understand money, they understand figures, they understand facts. We don't speak to them in that language. So it's like you're saying, oh, it's good for you. They're saying, but this is costing. So you have to speak their language of percentages, amounts, time frame. And just I really believe that's what made the difference between, like, I am at heart a trainer, but I'm a businesswoman. Yes. And as a businesswoman, I talk about the profitability, that if we do this training, we will be profitable here based on improving in this area, increasing that, minimizing that. Nobody ever talks about minimizing. Minimizing is another form of proving. So spend time looking over your proposals, looking over what you want to present and why you're trying to do it. And at the end of the day, not what are they going to walk away with, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. I'm talking as a businesswoman right now.
Yes.
As a businesswoman, I don't care that they're going to walk away with anything. What I care about is how are they going to make me more money? How am I going to save money? How am I going to increase revenue? That is what I care about. And if you can't say those things, you're not going to get what you want. Does that make sense?
Right. Thank you so much. Well, that's the bottom line. I think the bottom line of any business, of course, is profitability, sales, and alike. So that's great. Well, it's amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Cromwell.
If someone comes to you and they don't put those things in their proposals, send them back.
Yeah.
Say, go back and tell me, how can we measure this?
Right.
Keep challenging your people to learn to speak in that language. And like the high tide, even the raggedy boats will rise.
You know what? So thank you, Thank you, Dr. Indigo, for the answer. Thank you, Sir Cromwell, for your participation.
Thank you, sir, so much.
Today.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir. Okay.
If I can give you a feedback, Dr. Indigo, I love the fact that you are wearing many hats. A spiritual speaker, a motivator, a teacher, and now a business owner, which means you give us a lot of perspectives on how people see things. And thank you for giving us that. The diversity of perspectives coming from the different roles you're wearing and doing, and many hats, different hats you're wearing. Now, we have, speaking of surviving and thriving, Dr. Indigo, Nina M. Santa Maria is worried because she's asking, how can brick and mortar restaurants and retail services or companies survive and thrive, especially with the quarantine? In the Philippines, we call it quarantine. And the social distancing, now that the malls will remain closed for an uncertain period of time. So she's concerned to survive and thrive. How can she survive and thrive? More brick and mortar restaurant.
So I'm gonna be very, very transparent. Some of us aren't going to be able to survive this because your client base is reliant on being there. But I do find, which is very, very interesting here, restaurants are able to stay open as long as they don't have you sit down.
Okay.
People are now using Grab a lot to have food delivered. So again, I don't know for you, and you might be able to share this with me, how things work there. But if you do have a business that is catering to people, figure out, how can I get my product to them? The biggest thing about a business is really having a product and a service that these are two things that people are looking for: value and price. So once you figure out, is it of value? Do people still want what I have? And is it at a good price?
Yes. So
when you figure out those things, now, if you get those things, how do you get it to them? Like, for instance, how you and I, this is not our natural habitat.
I agree.
We're used to being at conferences and we're used to being in classrooms, but we have something of value. And many of us are having to cut our prices drastically.
True.
But we'll make it up in volume. You know, if you start looking at, wow, I'm going to go out of business because I can't charge the same price, look at volume, value, price, and now what's the vehicle to get it out there? For us, it's Zoom. For a restaurant, it might be Grab.
Yes.
And I don't know, you have to tell me if that's relevant.
Yes, Dr. Indigo, in the Philippines, especially in the Metro Manila area, we have the Grab food and Grab delivery. So what you're telling us, we can relate, because this brick and mortar restaurant can survive. No need for sitting in customers or dining in customers. But the way for them to survive is, I love what you mentioned. Is it quality? Is it value? And how to get your product from the store to the clients. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo. Now, anonymous attendee, people get fired for who you are. In this time, there will be many mistakes. How much slack do you give? And when to put your foot down? And how to do it? Anonymous attendee.
So let me share this with you all. When it comes to firing, I don't want to sound like I'm hard or harsh on people, but this is how I measure if someone is worthy of being pushed out of my company.
Okay.
When they start making mistakes, and write this down, there's a thing called heart mistake, head mistake.
Okay.
A heart mistake means they didn't give a damn about you or your company. This heart, I don't care. They did it knowing that it's not right, knowing that they shouldn't do it. And the reverse of a heart thing is that like Howell said something to me earlier that really touched my heart because I knew it came from his heart. So we deal with people at a heart level. Here's the head mistake. They didn't have the right information. Maybe they gave you something for a meeting and it was the wrong information. And they are mortified. They're like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I thought that was the right stuff. So that's a head mistake. Head mistakes, you can train people. You can teach them to do the right thing. Heart mistake, you can't train somebody. Can't train a heart because that's coming from here. That's who they are. So when people make mistakes, step back, ask the right questions. Like, why did you do that? What walk me through what happened? And when they go, well, I didn't have that much time, so I just figured, that's the best we could do. Is that coming from the head or the heart? Ask them the question, what would you do differently the next time? If they say, well, I would probably come to you and ask because you know more about this. That's coming from the head. If they say, well, the next time, I don't know, what would you have me to do? Well, that might be a hard thing. When you start hearing attitude and that's hard stuff. And that's when you need to get rid of them. Okay. Because you can't change hearts. You can change minds.
Yes.
You can't change hearts.
Brilliant answer, Dr. Indigo. You have consistently been a source of thoughts that would shatter our belief system here in Asia. Because, in Asia, you've been in Asia for so long, we believe in saving face.
Yeah.
We believe in not really nepotism, but you know what? We don't want to hurt them, so we'd rather keep them, even if they have attitude problem. But thank you for bringing that up. We cannot change their hearts.
Can I share this with you?
Yes, Doctor.
I've been here since 2016, so that's 4 years. And even when I was in China, they talked about saving face. I mean, they're really big in saving face. But here's something I want you all to really think about. The baton of power is being passed. Right now, America, and you guys know how the relay race works.
Yes.
It's a baton and people are running with it. So right now, the baton is like this, getting ready to be passed. America wants to keep the baton, but we've had our day. And I really believe it is moving here. But there are things you're going to have to start, continue, and stop doing. And if allowing people to stay on payroll when they're not contributing, you can't afford that anymore. There's a lot of things we just can't afford anymore. And when we start looking at even how this virus works, some people tried to save face and keep it quiet. And now it's hurting countries, it's killing people. Think about that in your business, think about that in your life. Are you allowing things to happen because you want to save face that at some point, with technology the way it is, everything in the dark comes to light. It's either now or later. So you can prolong it and try to act like it's going to go away, but it will come to light. And that is something I believe over in Asia, you're going to have to start doing faster if you're going to maintain any level of power.
Thank you, Dr. Indigo. And that's why we value people like you who believe in us so that we'll maximize our chances of being there. When you mentioned a while back, step into the greatness. We're excited to step into that greatness. There's this one person who admires you, anonymous attendee. This person says, how to be you, Dr. Indigo. You are such an inspiration to me.
Well, you can't be me. I'm already taken.
Okay. So, in the Philippines, the context is they admire you so much. When they say how to be you, they idolize you, they adore you, they admire.
Well, I have a book. I have several books out, but one of my books, I talk about you. And I sat down, I tried to think, we always hear this phrase about you. What is you? And I sat down, I came up with you means years of understanding.
Wow.
That you, as we go into whatever we're going into, you all, it's about being authentic. It's about being radically authentic. For those of you who know me, I used to have a lot of hair. Remember, I used to have a lot of hair.
Well, 2 years ago, you had this beautiful braid, and you look. I mean, however you're wearing your hair, you look stunning, Doctor Indigo.
Well, let me just share with you all. That was not my hair. I was buying that hair. Yes, you look all shocked. Let me tell you, I had a company that was buying hair from India.
Okay.
Move it to China. They processed it, sent it to America, and then they would send it to me in Malaysia. How crazy is that?
Wow.
And the reason I was doing it is because I felt and knew at one point that people wanted a certain image. So I played into that image.
Okay.
And that wasn't being authentic. It wasn't being me. So what you see today is me being me. This is my hair. This is how I look. I'm an African American. I don't have Indian hair, but I was wearing Indian hair. And it was looking good, I gotta tell you.
You look great with that. Yeah.
But what I have learned from years of understanding is that in order for me to step into my true greatness, I have to be authentic and like the me that keeps showing up. So when you become in love with you, others will love you.
I love the years of understanding. Can you publish the book here in the Philippines, Dr. Indigo?
You know, there's a couple of copies floating
in the
around.
Philippines. Okay.
And they have it.
I love you, which means years of understanding. Wow, the self. Thank you so much. And just to validate your worth, Dr. Indigo, if you are beautiful outside, you're even more beautiful inside.
Thank you.
That's the power of self-love. You know what? My image of you, you're this statuesque, tall girl, full of intellect, beaming with pride, beautiful human being, and was generous enough to share with us your learnings and your years of accumulated learnings in the years of practice. And that's the image of you that I still have today. And it still is true to this day, Dr. Indigo. In fact, the spirit of Oprah and the diva in Whitney Houston, those powers are in you. Yes. Yes. That's how powerful your presence is, and your heart is, and your beauty is. Now,
thank you.
From anonymous attendee, there are some who undergo mental distress, but know how to hide it, how to identify and help them, how to identify those who just hide their mental distress, and how do we help them?
You know, to be honest with you, you don't even have to ask a question. If you just let people know that you won't judge them, they'll open up to you. Most of the people keep things quiet because they're definitely fearful that you will judge them. So if you say things like, "Oh, she's so crazy. Have you ever noticed? She's nuts." When you say those things, the person you're talking to actually may be feeling that way, and they know, "Oh, I better not say anything." So start having conversations with your employee and with friends and with family of things like, I bet a lot of people are stressed, and, I'm open to hearing what people have to say because I really want to support people. When you say those things, people will know, okay, it's safe. Wow. People need to feel safe.
So don't wait for people to come to you, and don't approach them. Just tell them the energy of non-judgmental.
Right.
So we have to
But I'm here if anybody wants to talk to me.
Thank you, Doctor. Now we have a Zoom live question from Christine Senioron. Ma'am Christine, are you there?
Hello, good afternoon, Sir
Nice
Howell.
to see you again, Ma'am Christine.
Yeah, hello. It's nice to see you again, Sir Howell.
So
Hello, good
with us is
afternoon,
Dr.
Dr. Indigo. Yeah, hello, Doc Indigo. Good afternoon. Yes. Hello. So this is my predicament. So I'm asking with my own experience. So I think Sir Howell already knows this. I've been questioning this for over a time. Yes. Okay, here's my predicament. So I am a working single mother. So earlier you have mentioned about the KSA, the knowledge, skills, ability, and how to be valued, respected, and heard. So, but you also mentioned that I don't know if it's a friend of yours, Doc, who wanted to leave her job once there's an opportunity. So, to what extent must a good employee, must a good employee stretch her patience when the manager isn't listening and giving you any bit of opportunity, no matter how hard you try? So, and still, the office politics is still common, and you're expected to do more than what's outlined in your job description. And also, you've been told to do more work for the same paycheck. So, how do we deal about it?
Okay, so
Thank you.
So when I coach people, I let me just share with you. I had a woman that I was coaching with that was going through the same thing, and so what I said or asked her to do is write down everything that you're supposed to be doing, everything that you're doing, and everything that your boss is asking you to do. And what's interesting, very often, believe it or not, most people are only doing 70% of their job. What you were hired to do and what you actually do are usually not the same. So before complaining, go and look at your job description. What did it say that you would do? Now, if your job description is outdated because 50% of that stuff you don't even do, the company doesn't even do it anymore, and you're doing some more things, then that's when you create a job description. And so you create a job description of what you're doing currently, what things you're being asked to do, and then what things you have taken on yourself to do that are what you think is meaningful. And that's when you ask to have a conversation with your boss and say, this is what my job description says. Because keep in mind, they probably haven't seen your job description either, especially if they were hired into the company. They probably never looked at your job description. So they don't even know what you're really supposed to be doing. They only got a feel for what you're supposed to be doing. So go back, look at that job description first, write up what is real, sit down with them and ask them, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this contributing to the organization in a meaningful way? Now, this gives them an opportunity to look at it and say, you're doing this? Why are you doing that? Because that's part of my job description. You don't really need to be doing this because somebody else in a whole nother department does that. See what I'm saying? So it level sets where everyone has a clear understanding of what's really happening. Because you may be thinking, you're giving me all this new stuff, which they think is very relevant and important, but it may be contradicting with what you think you were hired to do. So we used to do this, we used to call this a desk audit back in the federal government. And it was called a desk audit. Now, what's funny about a desk audit is that you, by law, can ask for a desk audit, and the government had to audit your work, right? Now, if they found that you were doing more than what your job description was, they had to pay you. But guess what? If they found out you were doing less, they could lower your rate. So it's always a risk to get a desk audit. So a lot of people be like, that's okay, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Unless you really are clear that what you're doing is above and beyond your job description. So once again, I'm gonna repeat myself. Look at your job description and find out what does your job description say you're supposed to be doing. Then sit down and write what is your real job description. Now, sit and share that with your boss and find out, are you on the same page? This is what they should be measuring your performance by. But they may be measuring your performance by expectations, and you are measuring your performance by what you said you were hired to do. Can you see where there could be a miscommunication along these three different areas?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sometimes earlier when you mentioned about being judgmental, other people being judgmental because you've been distressing mentally distressed,
Mm.
I'm a bit emotional. I'm quite emotional at that moment because um, at one point in time in during my work, I have this what do you call this, panic attacks,
Oh,
anxieties
anxiety attack.
Oh yeah,
that I
anxiety
have,
attack.
that I have been feeling for over the years, and I've
Mm.
been since I've been working single mother, and I don't have any other opportunity to transfer to. I stick with my job. So that's where the mental distress comes in.
Can I share two
Well,
things you
and
can do? Two things you can do
yeah,
easily when you
yes,
have an
please.
anxiety attack. And just for those of you who are listening, I actually have a mental health background. So it's not like I'm one of these people who are now saying, oh, I can do mental health. No, I really do have a background. My doctorate is grounded in research around mental health. If you have an anxiety attack while at work, I want you to, even before it happens, go on YouTube and find music. Um, if you share your email or if you get in touch with me, if they'll share my email, I'll send you an article. I used to write for Inc. magazine on mental health once they started finding out that I had a mental health background. Music actually creates certain endorphins, it's serotonin, it increases things to raise your energy, right? Like for instance, when you go to a grocery store, you notice they play music?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
They do that
They
because
do.
it makes you buy more. You feel good. So you buy more stuff that you don't even want. Certain beats do certain things to your brain. And so find music that will, one, energize you when if you drop, because sometimes when you have anxiety, you can drop afterwards. Find music that soothes you. There's one that's on YouTube called Healing for the Woman's Soul. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's very calming. So start sampling music on YouTube that's calming for you, so that when you start having anxiety, you can put that on, and that will help bring down that level of stress. The next thing is oils. Purchase. I don't know how you would do it now, but when we are able to get back out, essential oils are really beneficial. I do not sell essential oils, so I'm not trying to get anybody to buy anything from me. But find oils that really will cause calming. Bergamot is good for that. Eucalyptus is good. Lemon kind of brings up your energy, so you may not want lemon, but you can Google. And once again, I can send you an article. I wrote an article around research around different scents. Scents have been around forever in healing. And so you can take that when you're feeling anxious, you put on your hand and you inhale it.
Oh, and you're gonna smell. Okay.
Oh, before I take the stage, I was in Indonesia and there were 1,000 women in the audience. And I looked out and saw all those women. I went to my purse. I put this oil on, I inhaled it, and when I came out, I just automatically just came out with my arms open.
Wow.
I don't even know where it came from. And I know part of it was getting in that mindset of the oil just calming me, and yeah. So try those two things. There's other things. If get in touch with Ariva. I'm not going to put my information on here because this is their platform, but I do coaching around mental health. I'm getting ready to start a group where every week people from all over the world can come into group therapy with me. I'm not going to call it therapy, but just a group where you pay a little bit of, like, I think we're going to do $10. And you just come in and you talk and listen to other people, and we do this.
Wow.
So contact Ariva so that you can go through them.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you, Dr. Indigo, and thank
you very much,
Christine,
Doc.
for
It's
always.
very helpful.
Thank you so much. I love
Yes,
it.
sir. Thank
So
you.
soothing music
Yeah, thank you.
and soothing oils. Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo. You know what? Time flies so fast when you're having fun.
Yes.
It's already, imagine 2 hours flew fast.
Oh my God, yes.
Only because we're so engaged and we loved listening to you. Now, before I ask you for your last few words, we call it the takeaway or the nuggets of wisdom you'd like to distill and share with us in the last minute. I'd like to just read Anne Maripo's key saying, from this moment forward, you must take responsibility for your life, decisions, actions, emotions, reactions. Yes, YOU. Yes, years of understanding are the only one responsible. That's her takeaway. Thank you, Anne Maripos Key. So, Dr. Indigo, for your takeaway, for the takeaway we'd like our participants to bring with them after this workshop, online webinar. The last word.
The takeaway that I would like, besides, those who do will thrive, those who try will survive, those who don't will die, is all of this that we're experiencing, whether you're looking at it from a business level, spiritual level, mental level, is that we all are being called into something greater. I believe that. And that each of us have to answer the call. What is that call? It may be Howell to do something different. It may be to do exactly what you're doing, but in a different way. Spend time, be quiet, be still. Allow Spirit to speak to you of why we are in this, why you are in this. And I promise you, you'll walk out of whatever room you're in with clarity. And the whole premise around this to me is that far too often we have spent time reacting to stuff through our life, whereas now we need to respond. Reacting is to use emotions, to do things without thinking, while responding is to think about it and to do things based on clarity. So use the tools and things that I talked about to respond and get in front of this. Contact Ariva. If you enjoyed this, don't just let this be, oh, this was good information, but rather, how can you go the next step and allow yourself to be in a session that Ariva will be able to sponsor or put out there? If you need help individually, I do a lot of coaching and so forth. Contact Ariva and ask them to put you in touch with me. And Google me, find me, spend time. I'm always out there doing different things. I would love to connect with you because it is about connection. And I love you with my whole heart area. Howell, love you guys who are out there. Love you whether you like it or not, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. We love you. We love you. Thank you, Dr. Indigo. Thank you so much. We hope to see you in the Philippines soon.
I hope so too. I love it there.
Thank you so much. And everybody, put your hands together. Big hand for Dr. Indigo. And as Dr. Indigo fades away from our screen and fades in, an equally beautiful and brilliant woman, this time from the Philippines, our president, Miss Irish Malonda Samson. Let's keep on giving a big hand for Dr. Indigo. Grabe.
Yes, what a great discussion. So much enlightening and enriching sharing of wisdom. And in behalf of Ariva Academy, thank you so much, Dr. Indigo Triplett, for giving this opportunity to us, for always supporting Ariva. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indigo.
Yes, sir. Sir Howell?
My takeaway, instead of reacting, respond. Respond. And that's my takeaway. Aside from the fact that not only was Dr. Indigo brilliant, she was beautiful inside and out, telling us how to be a person who, with years of understanding, will self-care and self-love.
I agree.
What about your takeaway?
I've got lots of notes here, but what struck me most is the quote about you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes existing model obsolete. So don't fight what's happening, leverage what's happening.
Wow, best in Q&A!
Thank
Philippine!
you. So
Thank
anyway,
you so much.
thank you so much, Sir Howell, for moderating our session this morning and this afternoon. Thank you so
Always a
much.
pleasure. Always a pleasure. I'm honored.
I'll be seeing you again on Monday.
On
Of
Monday.
course, yes. We will be having Mr. Ricky De Vera for another
Yes.
e-learning session for you guys. And please don't go away. This is not yet the end of our e-learning session. We have a lot to announce and to thank as well. Okay? We would like to thank our following win-win partners. Thank you to our official media partner, Art Class Magazine, digital media partners, Focus Media, Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcome, Elevate Media. Thank you to our win-win partners, Brother, Faber-Castell, Gluta-C, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Lotus Biscoff. Thank you to Boss Jobs, Sir Technology Inc., Pinma Properties, Salary Jet, Ilawi Korea, Kitulson and Carpo Consulting, Enchanted Kingdom. Thank you Disperse, Cosmotech Philippines Inc. And if you want to place your ads here, have a brand exposure to thousands of viewers, please email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Ariva Academy Philippines Inc. Please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our Facebook page. Don't forget to like us. And if you want to watch the replay of our e-learning sessions today, this morning, and also our previous e-learning sessions, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. It's a library of e-learning sessions for your employees. Don't forget to share it to your bosses, to your colleagues, and to your family as well. For our upcoming online learning sessions, we would like to invite you on another series of our HR Virtual Summit 2020, Bounce Back HR. We have invited international and local subject matter experts to share with us the wisdom to our HR participants and professionals. This will be on Monday, May 4th. We have invited Professor Ricky De Vera to discuss the VUCA leadership transforming a COVID-19 situation. And on May 6th, we have invited Ms. Sally Foley Lewis. She will be discussing leading productively in turbulent times. Don't forget, this will be on the morning of May 6th, 10:30 to 11:30. And in the afternoon, we will be having Mr. Howell Mabalot, Coach Randy Esguerra, and Ms. Seth Shapno to discuss Be More with Less, how to stay positive, healthy, and productive during tough times. So don't forget to register, guys. On May 7th, Thursday, this will be in the morning session, Best Practices on Human Resource Planning During Uncertain Times. We will be inviting Mr. Ronnie Turla, a management consultant expert. And we would like to invite you on e-learning masterclass, online selling from home, how to use FB, IG, and LinkedIn for your business. We will be having the Asia's Millennial Guru, Mr. Jonathan Yabut, to talk about this. And on May 8th, we will be inviting Mr. Roger Collantes. He will be discussing Don't Waste a Good Crisis, how to thrive, not just survive during a global pandemic. Don't forget to register, guys. Another e-learning session brought to you by Ariva Academy, Data Privacy Concerns During a Pandemic, Protecting Personal Data in the Time of COVID-19. This is timely, guys. We have invited Attorney James Earl Chu to discuss this session on May 11, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Another e-learning masterclass by none other than Mr. Jonathan Yabut, leading a work-from-home workforce, how to manage and develop remote teams. This will be on May 14, 4 to 6 p.m. And if you want to customize an e-learning session for your team, you would like to invite Dr. Indigo Triplett, Ms. Pip Penfold, some of our previous guest speakers, Ariva partner speakers, please do call me at 0916-695-4418 or email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Hope to see you on Monday. Yes, the VUCA leadership. Don't forget to register. We will be having Mr. Ricky De Vera. This is Irish, Malonda Samson. Again, in Ariva, it's all about being better, be safe, and stay home, guys. Thank you and have